I thought we were done this.
Hey guys, I'm Abbey Sharp. Welcome to Abby's Kitchen. Now, before we get into today's vlog, I want to pop in here to share my general disclaimer and include a trigger warning that I'm going to be talking about medication, depression, anxiety, and weight gain. So please feel free to skip this video if it's not supportive to your journey. I also want to tell you about my sponsor, Built Bar. So this is a very serious video and I'm going to be talking about some real, raw, serious topics. So not to diminish that, but I still gotta say that I low-key love these bars. So I talk a little bit about my changing appetite in this video, and one thing that has helped me so much is to make sure that I'm including a source of protein in my snacks and meals. So Built Bars have been a staple for me because the protein keeps me fuller longer and they just taste so good. Okay, I need a little snack to get me through the emotion of this next video. A little pick me up is needed. Feel free to get your own. I'm gonna go for a puff because today feels like a puff day. And this coconut marshmallow puff, she's calling my name. Ooh, yeah. I might be having a rough week, but let me tell you, she's a good pick-me-up. So super yummy if I need like a little something to tide me over, or I love to add them to oats or yogurt for more satiating snack. So if you want to check out Built Bar for yourself, use my promo code AbbeySharp15 to get 15% off of your order. Okay, back to the vlog.
Okay, so it's only been a few days, but these are so far my symptoms. TMI, as usual. I've had pretty bad diarrhea for like 3 days. I am nauseous as F. I actually took a pregnancy test because I was like, just want to make sure, but I feel super sick, like worse than pregnant sick. And my insomnia is worse, which was kind of what I expected because that is what I was warned may happen. But I'm on like a quarter of the lowest possible dose. So once I start feeling better, I can start to increase. So I'm at 10 milligrams now. A few days ago I was at just 5. And I will say that I've noticed that I'm a little, I don't know, happier and like brighter and more optimistic. But my sleep is still questionable. Hence why I have like a frog in my throat because I think I slept like, I don't know, maybe 4 hours last night on and off. The other thing I noticed is that my appetite is better. And not like I'm extra hungry as I was when I was like breastfeeding and I just felt like more ravenous, but just like I look forward to and enjoy food more. And I actually really like that because I know when I had COVID earlier on in the year, it totally wiped out my appetite and it really never fully recovered. So I would get to lunchtime and I would stare into the fridge and I would be like, nothing really sounds good to me right now. So I don't know, maybe I was somewhat depressed and I didn't even notice it or know that because I know that this drug works as an antidepressant at lower doses and as like an anti-anxiety medication at higher doses. So I might still be hitting those kind of antidepressant dosages. But it's actually really nice to look forward to eating something again and like cooking fun things. And I know that for a lot of people, the big fear with SSRIs is excessive weight gain. I just can't make myself worry about that right now because I think if I do gain weight eating what I need to eat at my healthiest, happiest state, then it was probably weight that I needed to gain. So yeah, I am feeling optimistic. So I'm at 20 milligrams now, but weird shit is starting to happen. Basically, the last few nights, my sleep medication that I've been taking for about 9 months now, successfully, just like full on stopped working. I think I got 2.5 hours of sleep last night. And the problem with that, aside from the fact that I am just like a walking, talking zombie right now, and I'm a little more irritable with the fam jam than usual, is that while I'm awake at night, I get ravenous
And I'm not talking like a normal, kind of like slow, progressive building hunger. I'm talking like I'm going to kill someone for a sandwich in the middle of the night, blood sugar low type of hunger. And the only reason I can distinguish this is because when I was doing IVF, they put me on metformin. And because my blood sugar levels were normal before I was put on metformin, they tanked. And so I was having these crazy lows in the middle of the night and waking up incredibly ravenous and unable to sleep from this kind of biting, aggressive hunger. So I have been basically forcing myself to have these pretty substantial snacks before bed that I feel quite full afterwards. Like sometimes I feel borderline almost sick, but I'm anxious about waking up hungry. So like last night, I think I had like a big bowl of protein oatmeal with berries and then another bowl of cottage cheese and fruit. And that was after like a full meal that I just had maybe an hour and a half before that. And I still woke up in the night hungry. So now I'm like sleeping with popcorn and turkey jerky beside my bed every night and driving my husband crazy chomping while he's trying to sleep. But yeah, it's getting very frustrating and also probably not making my insomnia better because I'm stressed about it now. So at this rate, it's totally possible / likely that I will gain weight if I'm eating a larger than what my body wants to eat snack plus more food in the middle of the night. And I mean, of course, it is scary for you to feel like your body is changing and you have no control over it. And I know that I live in a privileged body and I've never had to experience uncontrolled weight gain outside of like the context of pregnancy when of course it's more socially acceptable. But it's hard. It's really hard when you work in media like I do and you have to just accept and expect the trolls to come after you and to be commenting on your appearance every single day. So yeah, like I'm definitely wrestling with these worries right now. But the situation is also not good because it's obviously with my sleep, and that is just perpetuating my anxiety and fear about sleep. And also it's not great for me to be eating in the middle of the night for my SIBO and my digestion. So that is fueling a whole other layer of worry and anxiety. It's a big problem right now. And I mean, I want to see this process through. I knew it would be a journey. I know it might not be a fun journey, but I'm really, really feeling defeated right now.
Update. I spoke to my doctor and apparently this drug can sometimes cause hypoglycemia. And it's not super common, but it can happen. So my doctor suggested that I kind of weigh myself about once a week to keep tabs, and I never step on the scale outside of like medical reasons. So trigger warning, I'm gonna talk numbers on a scale for a second. But I was actually surprised to see that I'm basically the exact same weight, that I have been my whole adult life outside of course, pregnancy. And I think a lot of people who, track what they eat very meticulously and are always on or off diets, very often will see major fluctuations in the number on the scale. But it's amazing how stable your weight actually can be when you don't engage in these dieting behaviors. And I can appreciate that a lot of people just don't like the weight where they kind of net out at, but we do have research to suggest that our body has a preferred set point range that it just wants to be at, and it'll fight to be at. Obviously, I'm well aware that medication may change that, but so far, no change that I'm aware of. Anyway, the doctor basically said to combat the lows and their disruption to my sleep, we may need to change my sleep medication. So, yay, just like throw another curveball into this side effect cocktail and let's just see where we net out. I just think it's ironic that I started this journey like terrified of taking medication and now I'm just like, oh, whatever, now I've started this, just give me more, change that, whatever. My body's just an experiment at this point, and it is scary as
And here we go. So my Dayvigo just like crapped out on me, just stopped working. I've been sleeping like 2-3 hours a night and up every half an hour. So the doctor has switched me to something called trazodone, which is another sleep medication. And I just started it and it's working better. Not perfect, but definitely better than the Dayvigo was once it just like
stopped working. The problem is that I'm having these extreme heart palpitations. Like I can't catch my breath, and it's particularly bad when I lay down to go to sleep. Like the moment I lay down and I can feel my heart against the mattress, it's so extreme I can't sleep. Obviously, it's distracting me. And my doctor said that it's not uncommon when you start a new medication or a new protocol that you get this like anticipatory anxiety. And so I'm hoping that this is a temporary thing, because obviously the sleep is not going to get better if my heart is beating out of my chest and I'm having those physical sensations of anxiety. Okay, so I just realized I haven't really given you a SIBO saga update in a little while, but long story short, it's going pretty well. My bowel movements have finally kind of regulated. My bloating has stabilized. And I haven't really noticed any of the medications making anything worse, so that's great. But I do tend to regress whenever I come off the medication. So basically I will come off the medication or the supplements, and then the SIBO symptoms will all come back. So my doctor and I decided that essentially what we're going to do is keep me on a low dose of the antimicrobials that I was just taking to eradicate the hydrogen bacteria, and that way it'll kind of continuously weed out some of the bacteria to prevent it from pooling and causing another kind of SIBO incident. Ultimately, what I decided was it's way better and easier for me to take a couple pills a day, even if it's indefinitely, than having to start this whole process of eradication all over again. So knock on wood that it's the end of the SIBO saga. So I'm at the full dose of the anti-anxiety medication and a higher than normal dose of the sleep medication, and I feel like I'm just getting worse. The heart palpitations are like 24/7 now. I feel like my hands are constantly like shaking in like a little like nervous way, and it's almost like I have butterflies in my stomach, but all the way up in my throat. Side note, I've basically lost my voice from lack of sleep. So that's great. The nausea in the morning when I take the medication first thing is so bad still. I mean, I'm 2 months into this drug and it takes like 4 hours for it to go away. It's horrible. I also don't really feel like my anxiety is getting any better, which is so frustrating. And in fact, I feel like the physical sensations of anxiety in my body, like the beating heart and my like watching my fingers just like shake ever so slightly, it's actually making the psychological anxiety worse. It's reinforcing the fact that I have anxiety. So I've been so nervous about this, heart palpitation situation. I actually went to my doctor today. He did a few tests because I really just wanted to rule out that there wasn't anything dangerous going on. And the good news is that my heart rate is not dangerous, but it is irregular. And when I spoke to my psychiatrist about this, he actually mentioned that that's very common in people that have anxiety. Regardless, because the heart palpitation thing has been so disruptive to my life and my sleep, I talked to my psychiatrist and he actually suggested me aborting mission on the trazodone, which seems to be the culprit of this.
It's a trap! Abort! We never left it!
And basically going back to the Dayvigo. And because the Dayvigo wasn't working for me before, he's suggesting that I go on an even higher dose than what's normally recommended. So I guess I'm just like gonna give that a go tonight, but I don't know. I feel like a fucking guinea pig at this point, and like I don't know how much longer I can do this. So tonight was a total disaster. I have my night guard and my retainer. That's why I sound like I do. I spoke to the psychiatrist as well, and so he suggested I try to take it on an off-label dosage, like a higher dosage than what is recommended. So I did that last night, and I fell asleep really fast because Dayvigo does that. But sorry, my hand's dying. But I was up several times, basically like every sleep cycle, probably every 30 to 40 minutes. And then by 1:30, I was up and I just like could not get back to sleep. I was like, this is it. I've been laying in bed for the past hour and a half, 2 hours, trying to get back to sleep, but that's really bad sleep hygiene. So I just decided, yep, that's my night. That's what I got. And
I'm watching The Hills in the basement here. Trashy TV. And kind of doing a walking meditation. I'm just like walking at 1.5 miles per hour to just kind of reset my body, which is something I will sometimes do if I'm having physical anxiety. I find that the slow walk just kind of helps me re-regulate my breathing and start again. So it's my night. But I'm a woman, I'm a mom, and I know that from lots of experience that I can rally on far less sleep. So it's gonna be what it's gonna be.
So this is pretty much my worst fear at this point. The Dayvigo just like doesn't work at all for me. So absolutely no hope in ever going back on that again. Great. Cross that one off the list. So now the doctor's recommending that I go back on the trazodone, which caused me the heart palpitations. And to deal with the heart palpitations, he's prescribed propranolol. So basically I'm just taking a drug that has a bad side effect and more drugs to deal with those side effects. And now I'm feeling scared. Basically, I'm just layering drugs upon drugs and just discarding them when they just no longer work anymore because I'm just using so much. So now my whole body shakes all day long. My brain doesn't feel tired when I'm laying in bed, despite severe sleep deprivation and me not being able to function in the day. And I'm taking a million pills. I feel like I'm in this dark tunnel where I can't yet see the light, but I know that only glimmer of hope, like the only chance that I have is I have to trudge forward. There's no going back. I can't just quit. And I know I'm strong. Like I know that I've lived through legitimate hell with IVF and pregnancy and breastfeeding and this whole SIBO saga. And this is just one more cross to bear, but I guess I'm just really losing steam. So I just got back from a little weekend trip with my hubby in Chicago, and I've been on the antidepressants for the full dose for about 4 weeks now. And I want to share some like teeny tiny little indicators that I've picked up on that tell me that it might actually be starting to work. So for one, I have not bit my nails. Look at this. That one. Look how long that is. It's a little crooked, but it's long for me. I've been biting my nails chronically since I was a little girl. It's just one of my many kind of anxious habits. Even with shellac on my nails, basically after a week, I start to get antsy and I just bite them all off. So the fact that I've been able to kind of maintain a manicure for 2 weeks is a really good sign. Number two is while I was in Chicago, basically like the first day I was there, I got backed up, TMI. And that basically always happens when I travel, and I almost always freak the out. Basically, I start spiraling and I start to worry like, oh my gosh, my SIBO is going to come back and I'm never going to get back on track and my IBS is going to be horrible for the rest of my life. And usually my heightened anxiety actually just makes things worse. But basically, somehow this weekend, I kind of forgot about it. And then the next day it was just like all good, back on track. So yeah, that was like huge. And the other thing is I also am finding that I'm not getting as stressed out about having a bad night of sleep. So yeah, that's still happening about every 2 to 3 nights, but I don't find that I'm getting like as pouty or angry about it. My mindset's essentially just going from like, oh my God, my weekend's ruined, this is the worst situation ever, to something more like, well, you know, I guess I'll just operate at a slightly lower energy level than normal. So yeah, it seems like some of my kind of obsessive compulsions are starting to soften, which is amazing. Oh, and last week, my husband asked me if I'd like to go to a spontaneous lunch in the middle of the work week day. And I was just like, sure. And my husband said that he was like jaw to the floor shocked.
I mean, I'm shocked.
Old Abby would never be able to just like drop what I was doing in the middle of the work week and play hooky without substantial planning and kind of self-negotiation in my head about it. Now, my sleep is still like pretty hit and miss. So last night I actually had a pretty rough night because I was like ruminating and stressing over feeling a little pinched on time with so many new work ventures I've got in the works, plus kind of being up against the clock with a lot of family vacations and the holidays and, you know, weddings and travel commitments, etc. So yeah, I was ruminating over that all night. So maybe I just need a little more time to kind of mellow out about things like that. But also, I don't even know if that's a reasonable expectation for this. Like maybe it's totally normal to feel stressed and overwhelmed when you're feeling a little overworked or like you're burning the candle at both ends. Yeah, for those of you guys at home who have taken antidepressants or anti-anxiety medication, please let me know if it's something that you still stress over when you're feeling like tight on time or deadlines or work stress, etc. So yeah, I don't even know what I should be expecting from this process. I probably can't expect to become like a whole new Abby, but maybe just a better Abby, a chiller Abby, a like better sleeping Abby. You know, I feel like I mentioned this in my last mental health vlog, but I definitely have an addictive personality. And ironically, I feel like this whole kind of journey has really reinforced that. As I'm starting to feel better on this medication, I can feel my brain starting to move in the direction of like, oh, if 40 milligrams makes me feel good, then 60 milligrams will make me feel great. And that, my friends, is 5 shades of up. I am so grateful that I've got a really great relationship with my psychiatrist and I speak to him every Wednesday. So I really feel like I have someone who can like hold my hand throughout this process. Because while I'm not a psychiatrist, I feel like with everything else in life, there is definitely too much of a good thing. As for other side effects, I'm sure you're going to ask, have I gained weight? Well, maybe like a pound or 2. I only weighed myself once because my doctor suggested I try that. And like that could have been completely insignificant because I don't really have like a ton of data to base it off of. And like I tell you guys all the time, weight goes up and down like 5 pounds depending on the week or day. But I will say that my hunger has seemed to regulate pretty well. I'm not waking up in the middle of the night ravenously hungry and having like hypoglycemic attacks, and there really haven't been any major GI disturbances. And I want to acknowledge that while I personally feel like gaining a bit of weight is a fair trade-off for better mental health, I also feel that, you know, feeling out of touch with your body or, you know, out of place in your body can definitely be kind of anxiety provoking and triggering for a lot of people, which I'm sure does not help the recovery process. So I'm not sure if my experience would have been different if I hadn't done the genetics test and I went with like an SSRI that was flagged as being more likely to cause side effects for me. But at least for now, I am feeling like myself in my usual body, but maybe just like a little more chill.
Here we are again. It's 4:20 in the morning, which wouldn't be so bad if I haven't been up since 1. So I'm really tired. I'm already sick. The doctor prescribed me an even stronger sleep medication last night and it didn't even work. So I feel really hopeless.
I thought we were done this.